live as we can. Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm here on a Friday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
Hey, I tested my mead yesterday. Now, for those people who make mead, there's a long period of gestation that you have to go through. And I removed the spices from it. And of course, you have to sample it besides taking your specific gravity. I tasted it yesterday. I mean, it's very new, obviously, but boy, does it taste good. I can't wait for this thing to finish up around January or February.
Oh, all right, Bill, you got a challenge here.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Hey, I'm delighted, man. The 300 miles on your Solterra, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Let's see who can get the most range. Next thing we're going to see somebody telling us they got 700 miles on their Silverado.
Oh, of course they did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do my first cross country trip, 37.5 miles from my house to the Kimball Orchard in Nebraska City for a workshop on how to make mead put on by the Nebraska Bee Laboratory. And, Nebraska City is famous, of course, as being the home of J. Morton Salt, the salt guy, the salt baron. And of course, they've got, lots of, apple orchards and all kinds of things down there. So I'm going to go down there and take my first class in making mead, which I've already kind of started already. But anyway, I'm sure I'll learn and meet other interesting people. So.
Nice. Well, when you say cross country, I thought maybe you were going to go to Florida or something.
Oh no, I work up to these things very carefully. I would not take my Fiat down there. I mean, okay, only 37 and a half miles. Theoretically, I should be able to make it and back, but I prefer taking the Bolt with the 300 miles range. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I get that. All right.
Call it range anxiety. Okay, I suffer from range anxiety. So.
All right. Let's see. So we missed Tesla's profit plunge when you were on with me Tuesday. So we'll talk about that today. Tesla earnings dropped 37%. That's a pretty big drop.
Yeah.
And let's see. And this causes some... Musk is still on the earnings call pleading for investors to approve his $1 trillion pay package. Yeah, now, the company has to reach a $10 trillion valuation for him to get that. But, and it's not worth $1 trillion at the moment. So that'd be a pretty big increase.
Have you heard his latest reason why he needs that $1 trillion pay package? Have you seen this?
No.
It is to control his robot army.
There you go.
Give me $1 trillion or I'll sick my robot army on you. Can you imagine giving that guy the ability? You got, it's like, what is it, iRobot? Is this a movie script he's living or what is it? We're going to trust you, Elon, with control of, all these household and industrial robots? I don't think so. I think that's a perfect opportunity to do a little political, economic blackmail. So
when I read a lot of news, I'm always curious when I read it, am I reading satire or is this the actual news?
Yeah.
And I do read the Babylon Bee, and I used to read the Onion a lot. Today, the Babylon Bee was really on top of things. They had something that said like Congress wants to assure us that their pay isn't getting cut. When they're shut down. But the best one was the 10 things to expect. So Owen's over here talking about 37% of the White House is down, with the changing and putting in that ballroom. But it said the 10 things to expect that Trump to put in the new ballroom. And this was hysterical. A full-size McDonald's was one of them. There was another one, a spray tan booth. But my favorite one was a UFC octagon, so they can have UFC
Oh,
fights right
sure. Yeah, might as well.
there
Yeah, he's apparently
at the
a
White
fan of
House.
that. So,
Yeah, and
have you seen the scale model of that thing? It's nearly as big as the White House itself.
it's
It's
nuts.
a little kind of, okay, we'll sit on the footprint of the East Wing, right?
Hmm.
Oh, they just took that whole East Wing down and they're building, looks like some kind of a portico out to it. And then this thing's sitting there and it's nearly as big, if not as big, as the White House himself. It's
Yeah.
Lord.
The very last one was gold. Lots of gold with gold on top of gold. You know how he loves gold. All of it, all of his buildings. You go in any of his
How,
buildings, it's like
what is
gold
his
everywhere.
problem? That is so freaking, pardon my language, tacky. Good God, what has he done to the Oval Office? It's horrible. Got some kind, there's something, I'm sorry, there's something
Yeah.
wrong up there, and there's a whole bunch of psychiatrists who are saying the same thing.
Well, everybody's got their own thing, right? But I thought it was really hysterical. Oh, did I mention the spray tan booth? There's going to be a spray tan booth in the.
Oh, sure, why not?
Yeah.
They took Melania's office, right? I mean,
They-
there were a bunch of offices, over in that East Wing, and they've just
Mhm.
eliminated that, and they're going to build this big empty ballroom that, with the
Right.
exception of maybe someplace in the back, there's someplace handy for him to get his spray tan booth. I don't know.
I mean, the thing like the news of the NBA today or yesterday, with all of the people supposedly in trouble for, playing badly for gambling reasons.
Oh
And,
yeah, that whole
and
NBA
all these
scandal.
arrests
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And there was another article that came out how the WNBA was being investigated. And they assured the FBI that they're just bad and they weren't throwing games on purpose. And that one was pretty hysterical too. But anyways, yes, I mean, some of this, I mean, it's like, I just can't believe it's really a thing. I mean, I guess people do gamble. I'm not a gambler, but I'm sure people, I know people like to gamble on sports. It's one thing to like, Bill, I'll bet you $5 the Huskers win this weekend, kind of thing, but,
Well,
some of this just gets
let me get in that
ridiculous.
$1 million poker pot, right?
Yeah.
Nah, that's not me. Sorry, ain't happening. I'm kind of like, oh my God, who's the attorney who talks about? He says, "Now I'm not a gambling man, but I will bet $1. And that's my maximum limit, $1." Right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same league there.
Yeah.
I go to Las Vegas, and I think one time I dropped $1 worth of quarters in a slot machine, something like. I mean, it's just not my thing. Sorry.
No, I'm the same way. Let's see. Rivian laying off 600 jobs. This is what, the third time they've done layoffs?
Well, yeah, they lay them off there in the Illinois facility. I gave them off over in the corporate headquarters, which I gather is moving to Atlanta, right? I think they're moving down to where the new plant
facility
is being built. Yeah. So yeah, hey, the Bezos is laying off what was it, 60,000 or 6,000 people or something like that
at Amazon.
Yeah, at Amazon, he's going to replace them all with robots.
Yeah, that's a real problem. I mean, we look at AI. I look at ways I can try to make workers more effective with AI. But the problem is, if I make you twice as effective at your job with AI, right, then that means I don't have to hire somebody else.
Right.
So
that's kind of what I'm experiencing here. I generated today, just this morning. If you look into the EV World exclusives, I've generated 3 articles just this morning. I come across a story and I say, well, give me more information on this, or let's like one story was talking. Oh, let's see. It was about the challenge that all of these data centers are putting on the American grid, right? The guy's making the argument that we've got plenty of power. We're pumping record amounts of oil, and we're pumping up record amounts of natural gas, and renewables are growing. But the problem is the amount of LM, artificial intelligence machines that were, bringing spinning up, and the grid can't keep track of it. So
Virginia
just
has a big problem. Virginia alone has 15% of the world's data centers.
yeah, wouldn't
And
surprise me.
and so
So I
they've
read,
really got issues there.
yeah. So I read just before that, though, I came across a story about Octopus,
Mhm.
right? Which is basically it's a software you can do as an app that basically creates what are called virtual power plants. So you
Mhm.
can take people's cars and the solar off their roof and things like that, and you can tie all that together and manage that to feed that into the grid when it's needed. So I thought, well, this is kind of, what if we do something like, what Octopus is doing and address this problem of the data centers? And that's the article it generated for me. It took me, I don't know, 15 minutes, something like that, which I could never do on my own, to
Mhm.
research that and write that up. And that's 3 stories I did just this morning. That's, made me way more effective. So,
But you know what's interesting, Bill? Neither of us are young men, right? But with the advent of AI,
what
I
do you
would
mean?
suggest that we are probably both learning now at a rate that's faster than we've personally ever learned
Oh,
in
yeah.
our lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the amount of data I'm consuming personally,
Yep.
into my own brain is enormous. And the way that I'm receiving it through, I mean, I like putting things into like Notebook LM and then listening to it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll create my own little podcast on a topic. Somebody will send me a 50-page PDF. I'll put it in the Notebook LM. I'll play it at double speed, and the 2 people will explain the whole thing to me.
Yeah.
Okay, that are on the pod. If you haven't used Notebook LM,
No,
you
I
can
haven't.
feed it. So Notebook LM is free. It's a Google product. Okay. And all it does is you take and you can create, let's say we're talking about the EV news for today. We take all of the news articles for the day, we tell it all the links to use. It'll go pull everything from those pages, and then it'll put together a synopsis. And then you tell it to create podcasts, and it'll create like anywhere from a 10 to 30-minute podcast of 2 interesting sounding people, a man and a woman,
Okay. All right.
talking to each other. It doesn't sound like AI, and they'll explain the whole thing to you. And they'll do it energetically in a way that's entertaining. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
Bill, can you believe that they're doing this? I mean, this is, this is
Yeah.
next level, how they're cutting
Ooh.
600 jobs and they're laying off people for the 3rd time, but they'll make it sound interesting.
Right. Right. Right.
And yeah, as far as just the ability to learn. But what I'm getting at is we are
Yeah.
at the same time, I like hiring really good people and getting rid of people that aren't really good.
Yeah.
But I want to make those good people even better
Even better. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
making them able to perform more and take away workload from them, of stuff that doesn't make them perform at their
Right.
best. And this is one of the ideas of using
Well, I can see the
AI.
time, instead of sitting there at my here at my desk, or up at where I work anymore, is up on the kitchen counter because it's more comfortable, on a stool type of thing. And we could just do all of this, just turn it over to AI, Dave, and I could focus on making my mead.
There you go. There you go. We just make mead. Let's see. Article from the New York Times. China is quickly becoming the global leader in nuclear power, with nearly as many reactors under construction as the rest of the world combined.
Yeah,
They're
probably.
they're leading in all kinds of power, right?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
definitely leading in wind and solar.
They're going to build the world's largest wind turbine, and they've got, acres, God, square miles of solar panel arrays. And yeah,
Yep.
they've gotten seriously into that area that, unfortunately, we invented all this
Yeah.
stuff. We
Yeah.
invented it.
Right.
And they just picked it up and saw the future, and they've run with it. So
Yep. Toronto or Ontario is investing $1 billion in small modular reactors. This is, let's see, they're going to create 18,000 jobs for Ontario up in Canada.
This is, I assume, manufacturing these
Yes.
small units.
They expect it to add 38.5 billion to Canada's GDP from doing this. Let's see.
I presume they're anticipating a larger market than just, than just Canada by itself.
Well, our own research has indicated there's at least, just for like really small, for the micro reactors, there's at least 400 ideal sites just in Canada.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So there's lots of off-grid communities that burn diesel and bunker fuel and have real energy poverty. Most of those are First Nations, locations, but they're just they're going to call this the Darlington New Nuclear Project. Create thousands of high-paying careers and power thousands of Ontario homes with clean energy. Well, I think it's going to be more than Ontario, but they intend to actually manufacture. It says it'll inject 500 million annually into the Canadian supply chain. So that's pretty substantial for what they're going to do up there.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we do? Okay, one of my articles today. Let me see if I can find the EV World article on this. So sodium ion versus lithium battery strategies. So sodium ion batteries challenge Toyota's 1 EV equals 90 hybrids, which we know that's not true. Lithium scarcity argument. And I don't know where the guy gets this lithium scarcity.
The problem is the prices are depressed because there's so much extra lithium on the market. Everybody thought, oh, there's the future. Let's invest in, pull the stuff out of the ground and refine it. Now they've got a glut. I
get things all the time. Oh, take a chance to invest in lithium. And it's like, you realize that stuff's everywhere. I've got a guy that I've been talking to that has a project that involves graphene batteries. Okay. And part of it is he wants to refine the graphene into what's called research grade. So regular graphene is worth about, it's got some value. It may be worth $50, $60. I can't remember if it was a kilogram or what amount it was that was worth that much. But if you converted it to research grade, it's worth twice as much as gold.
Which is what, sort of like 99.999 purity?
Yeah, well, so gold per kilogram is about $70,000 for 2.2 pounds. But it's the graphene's worth about 150,000 for the same amount, for that same kilogram, if it's refined to this really special need. But the problem is, this guy's like, hey, when we do this graphene and they wanted to make a crypto coin for it. Okay. They're saying it'd be worth $38 billion. And I'm like, no, that's not how economics works. If you had that much research grade graphene, it would now be worth as much as dirt. Okay. Because there'd be so much of it.
There'd be so much.
If you increase the supply, see, the thing is, there's probably not a whole lot of research grade graphene on the planet.
So that's why it's so valuable.
So it's so valuable because nobody's
so
really
made more.
Much. Yeah. So if you made $38 billion worth of it, it would now probably be worth a few $100 million for the whole batch.
Yeah.
It would go down in value probably 95 to 99%.
And I assume this is, most of us use for battery
for battery storage, but there's some more. Apparently, but when I read, the research grade is used for higher end batteries, and I'm just like, well, how much higher end are you going to make a battery from one to the next? It's not.
I suppose for spacecraft or something like that. Where you.
Well, one of the arguments is that with graphene, you can charge a graphene battery at 50 times the speed you can charge a lithium ion battery. Okay. But then why isn't anybody in the EV space using graphene? That's a big question. Well, and maybe it's only that way if you have the research grade. And so that makes it be out of reach,
Right.
right? And so you have, it just brings up these additional questions. Now, the guy that I'm talking to, he's an engineer, but he's not an economist. Okay. And so, you can take some of the stuff, but the stuff isn't linear. When you're in some fields, things are linear, and economics, everything's on some kind of weird curve,
Yeah.
right? And you're trying to explain why the curve is behaving like it is, because it's not scientific, right? I mean, there's obviously some rules there, but you know what I mean? With math, there's generally one answer, right? With economics, there could be different, it's opinions to a degree. It's not exactly like telling the weather, but some of it is not far off.
Yeah.
Right. So anyways, back to our topic though, on the sodium versus lithium. So Europe favors full EVs. The article says the US subsidizes hybrids. Not sure about that. Emerging markets seek pragmatic solutions. The strategic divide will reshape global mobility and potentially determine which countries lead the transition. Now, this is one of our own articles, although for some reason that EV World page doesn't load properly.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right. But I wanted to talk more about this topic. Let's see if I can get it to load properly.
What's the title?
Let's see. The battery divide, sodium ion versus lithium strategy. I just know it's article ID 472.
Huh. Okay. Well, keep working there, and I'll see what's going on.
Yeah, you never
Move my
can
microphone
tell.
out of the way.
And at the same time, it could have been a hallucination by my software. So let me see. I wanted to talk about grid scale battery storage boom. So, and Owen mentions this over in the chat. He's talking about if the data center had enough solar and battery, it could significantly reduce a lot of pressure on the local grid. Now,
it's on your end because it pops up just fine for me.
Is it loading?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just popped right up. Yep.
I wonder if I put it in a different browser, if it'll come up. Let me try a different browser. Maybe I'll crash out my computer at the same time.
No, please don't.
Yeah. Let's see. But the challenge is still, even with battery storage, I'm simply not able to connect to that page for some reason. But that's okay. That's okay. But the challenge is just getting enough energy, having enough batteries to compete with some other types of energy. Almost all of your data centers try to be green to some degree. And to be fair, about one of the fastest ways to actually get some kind of power to a data center is solar. Solar can be put up reasonably quickly.
Most of those are big flat buildings, and those roofs are just ideal for that.
Yeah, but you need a megawatt for like every 45 square feet or something like that. It's something ridiculous how much electricity these things are taking. And so you need like 5 acres of solar panels for, a very small amount of building. So it is, so there's some kind of consideration for that. It's having all of the land available to put that solar.
And we were worried about Bitcoin mining.
I know, isn't it crazy? I mean, Bitcoin mining is just like a drop in the bucket compared to AI now, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, look
how much you and I have used. I've used it just this morning, right? I had to generate a couple of different images for the stories I did and all that research that I talked about earlier. Did that, coming back within just milliseconds. Here, do this, and bang, there it is. And that's just me. So take that by, how other many million people that are using it for, for fun or recreation or for work.
So Austin Energy has taken a major step forward in meeting the city's climate and reliability goals, agreeing to a large-scale battery storage contract with Jupiter Power, provide 100 megawatts of electricity from a utility-scale battery storage facility. This initiative supports Austin's goal of achieving 125 megawatts of battery storage by the end of 27. So they're getting 100 of it from there. So
Yeah,
getting
this is Austin, right? Austin Power?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have just been, historically, they have been pioneers, leaders. For a while it was Florida Power, but I think Austin Power. I've been down there and I've met the guys a long time ago. They probably all since retired, but no, Austin's been remarkable. But they like to refer to themselves. Austin is the blueberry in the ketchup in Texas.
Yeah, I know it's like California sitting in the middle of Texas.
Yeah.
Let's see. So in this case, they're using battery storage to capture electricity during periods of low demand and deliver it back to the grid when it's needed most. A lot of people don't realize, everybody thinks of oil when they think Texas, but Texas has huge amounts of renewables.
Oh, no,
their grid is probably one of the most diverse grids. I mean, in the whole country, that whole ERCOT thing and everything they have. It supports.
Although I did see where there's talk of bringing that in to the rest of the grid at some point.
Oh, really? Well, it would make sense if they were connected to other states, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it's just the way that they're set up, they make it easier for a lot of new energy sources to connect to the grid. So that I think because they have all the different power companies,
right,
and the non-monopolized.
To demonopolize?
Yeah, demonopolize. Yeah, I don't think that's
is that a word.
Yeah, I don't think it is. They don't have the monopoly structure of electricity like all the other states do. I think they have an easier time with going through some of the red tape of being able to set up transmission.
Yeah, that was the whole point of doing the ERCOT, right? Was to get away from that. Of course, then there's those of us here in socialist Nebraska. We're like the only entire state that is publicly owned, unmonopoly. Okay, thank you, Owen.
We'll come up with some more words. If we really need some more words, we'll write a letter to George Bush Jr. He always came up with a lot of new English words.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in Texas, of course.
Yeah, we'll strategize it with him. But this is interesting to see 100 megawatts. Let's see. It's giving some figures on values. It's saying it's like $14.4 million per year for the agreement, a total value of $288 million. I'm not sure exactly if this is some type of energy arbitrage, if their arrangement is an energy arbitrage play with the battery storage company, or if the batteries, because it doesn't sound like they're necessarily just selling the batteries to Austin Energy.
Yeah.
So it's probably an energy arbitrage move of some play, but we know batteries don't produce energy on their own. So
no, they're just there
buying
to
it when it's
suck
cheap.
up electrons.
Yeah. Let's see. And let me see. PJM over in Virginia. PJM interconnection.
Yeah.
Two 10 megawatt. Two 10-megawatt battery projects in Virginia were announced this week, a part of a wave of new storage deployments in the PJM interconnection, following reforms to its surplus interconnection rules and mounting pressure over capacity prices. Patterson Enterprises is building two 10-megawatt, 4-hour lithium iron phosphate battery projects in an area called the A&N Electric Cooperatives Service Territory in Eastern Virginia, with financing from Climate First Bank. So I did some research on Climate First Bank. They're based in St. Petersburg, Florida. So the Tampa area.
Right.
They got a couple of locations. They do some asset-based lending. So they have some interesting stuff going on. but the bank is providing $32 million in financing for the projects, which is unusually for a small bank. That's an unusually large amount.
Mm.
So a lot of times when you're dealing with a bank, when it's smaller, and these numbers can change, a lot of times they have an exposure limit per client, or
Right.
maybe they consider this type of deal being so inherently safe that they could go this big. A lot of times that number though is like $4 or $5 million. Okay, of what a smaller bank will take, but this Climate First Bank must have some teeth behind it, because it doesn't strike me as a type of bank that could do
It could,
loans of this
yeah,
size.
it could be like an investment bank where it doesn't really take retail customers. It
No,
focuses.
it does. It's actually, I looked up their website. They're set up
Really?
like a regular bank, and
Huh. Sort
they're
of like
trying to be
Pinnacle here, or
yeah,
different.
even smaller. Pinnacle's
Yeah.
probably a bigger bank than this outfit,
Yeah.
although
Huh.
these people could have more money behind them. Yeah, Client First Bank, or Climate First Bank, is considering financing 2 other 10 megawatt storage projects in the same territory. In part, interest in battery storage in that region is driven by data center growth. If we put more of these battery storage projects in place, we avoid the need to set up peaker plants, which are typically pretty inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
PJM lags behind other parts of the country, in particular California and Texas, when it comes to energy storage. At the start of 2024, PJM had 376 megawatts of storage, while the California Independent System Operator had 8.1 gigawatts. Now, we've heard stories that California's passed 10 gigawatts. So, because I've heard Newsom announce that they passed the 10 gigawatt. We talked about
Oh,
that.
okay.
That might
missed
have
that
been
one.
that might have been 6+ months ago. I mean,
Yeah.
that wasn't recent. Okay, that was a while back. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas shows 3.8 to 5.6 gigawatts. They show this 3.8 gigawatts / 5.6 gigawatt hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The California, it says 27.1 gigawatt hours.
Hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a story, I don't know, it was a month or so ago, talking about how that storage that they have built in California, California has didn't have to go through these, sort of rotating power brownouts and things like that. So that it's working for them, even though there are times when 90% of their power is coming from wind and solar.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that battery storage has helped them get through the summer without any brownouts.
Okay, so a report by the Brattle Group, which was commissioned by the U.S. Energy Storage Coalition, concluded that PJM needs to add 43 gigawatts of storage by 2045 to ensure reliability and mitigate cost increases. So they need to go from
those
this
data
20
centers
to 10 megawatts to 43 gigawatts. So they need to up that number by 2,000 times.
Yeah.
So that's a big change. This is kind of like when I talk about nuclear fusion. It's like, are those numbers realistic? So anyways, but it's progress. But I found it interesting, just some of the things that I dug up in that particular article. Let's see. EV charger build out continues despite Trump. U.S. added 699 DC fast charging stations and 4,000 charging ports in Q3, despite policy changes. Most of this was probably Tesla, was most of it. Tesla was the leader in this, but let's see. The national total is 12,375 stations with 64,486 charging ports.
And those are fast charge, or those are just
those are fast charge. Those are
those
DC
just fast
chargers.
charge. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Let's see. The rate of construction was slower than the second quarter, but the charging stations become more reliable and are being used more frequently. Notably, the utilization increased the most in summertime destinations such as Maine, Montana, and Oregon. An indication that people were driving electric cars on summer vacations.
Cool.
So,
great.
yeah, I thought you might like that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Oklo. Oklo has broken ground on the first SMR at the Idaho National Laboratory. This is part of that thing to have a reactor operating at the national labs by July 4th of next year.
Been there,
and
done that.
Yeah,
I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see where that comes. Let me see. Is Oklo on our ticker today? I don't know if it is. It's interesting always to look. I let you
I
comment.
didn't see it on here.
I see new scales on there 1.81. The nuclear stocks took a bath for the last 3-4 days. They reversed about 33%, pretty much all of them.
Because
somebody came out and said that they thought that Oklo was a big investor in Oklo, when it hit $180, sold like 8 million shares.
He decided to take his profits and go home.
Yeah, and they didn't sell out of their ownership. They just took some off the table when it was really high, and that caused. And then somebody disparaged NewScale, and I saw a couple other things, and just like whoop, it all rolled back, and
cascade domino effect.
Right. And anyways, but then yesterday they were all back up a good chunk. Today they're all back up another chunk. But yeah, if you look, everything's green today across all the sectors.
Except Ford Motor Company.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it was probably like 12 cents, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't negligible.
Like yeah. But almost everything is up a little bit.
Is in the green today.
Yeah. But when you look at some of this, like the Nano up 6%, that's an absurd one-day change. Okay, the whole nuclear industry, the daily swings.
Tesla's down though, 2.7.
Yeah, but they're at 436 today. It's funny. I keep saying them take these hits, but they were like at 220 6 months ago, and they're double that.
Yeah.
So it's bouncing off a peak up here.
No, it was Lucid that was in the red. Okay, that's not unusual.
Down 1 cent.
Yeah.
It's like no news basically. Oh, Ford's up 10%.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's up.
Why is Ford up 10%? I mean, that's kind of random. Let's see, the Aurora powerhouse from.
Oh, you know what? That could be with that they had that supplier had that big fire, and then in addition to that, General Motors had a fire in their advanced concept vehicle lab,
and that made the Ford stock go up?
No, there was two different fires. One was at a supplier to Ford Motor Company apparently, and that's they said that's going to take about a $2 billion hit. Because of that. And then the other one was the fire that destroyed apparently one of the concept vehicles in General Motors development center.
Oh, wow.
And they think the General Motors position is that it was a lithium fire. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, we don't have Oklo on the stock list today, but the Aurora powerhouse marks the transition from experimental to commercial advanced nuclear reactor with modular design enabling faster deployment than traditional reactors. It's the Oklo one just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It is so volatile, but it's up 1,000% still from a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's and it keeps going higher. I've seen lots of people saying it's gonna. Last I looked, it was like at 120.
So where are they located?
What's that?
Where are they located, Oklo?
I think they're on the West Coast somewhere. Okay. They're in Santa Clara. Oh, they're at 136 today.
Okay.
So they're up 9% today. I mean, 9% is absolutely absurd. Okay, for a stock to go up 9% a day, it's usually some kind of crazy news.
Yeah.
But the nuclear stocks will do this every day.
If you want a Bronco ride, get on nuclear, right?
Yeah, all the nuclear stuff.
If you want thrills and spills, there's your choice.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's interesting to see because nuclear is one of the few things that both political parties seem to agree upon now.
Yeah.
And so that's probably one of the reasons why it's doing well, right?
That's a
Yeah.
promising.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, let's go to the Nissan Sakura. It is introducing the AO Solar Extender. This is kind of a funny
That's over,
look at
yeah,
Nissan.
over in Japan. Yeah, one of the K cars.
Yeah, we're not getting this here in the U.S., guys, but
No, it's looks like it's a, it looks like it's a big wide surfboard on top of the thing,
yeah,
and then apparently you pull the other panel out, so you got, you sort of within the overall footprint of the car. You don't have to ride just on the roof. You've got a total area there, and of course it'll provide some shade to the car. Yeah, interesting.
I've seen people that go camping and they have like a pack of solar panels that just fold out,
Right.
and
Right.
they keep that, and it wasn't a lot, but it was like almost it had about 2 kilowatts of solar panels,
Yeah.
and so that was more than enough to
Yeah.
slow charge your car.
Yeah, I think Nissan is estimating that this will add about 1,600 miles
A year.
of driving a year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's only 5 miles a day, but for a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
that could be a pretty substantial. EV drivers tend not to drive a lot, right? In the United States, the
No.
average is around 7,000 miles
Yeah.
a year,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so that would probably accommodate a fourth of somebody's driving. It's an interesting
And it's
concept, that's for
Japan,
sure.
which I don't know how many miles. We could probably ask AI what's the average mileage, but I don't imagine it's that much that they drive. I mean, Tokyo, and some of those cities, they have great public transit systems, so there's not as much of a need for you to jump in your car and go somewhere.
It also creates shade and
Yeah.
helps block sunlight. Oh, apparently, I don't know if you can drive it while it's got that.
I
I don't
wouldn't
think so.
I wouldn't think so. No, I think you have to
Yeah,
stow it.
it just says it creates shade into the, and blocks the sun from the windshield,
Right.
reducing cabin temperature and lowering the need for air conditioning consumption. But the system has been designed to minimize drag and integrate with Sakura's overall appearance.
It looks like it just some type of attachment that goes on it.
Yeah,
They didn't. I don't think Nissan actually integrate. Well, they had to do some integration because it has to tie into the battery charger and the battery pack and things.
this Sakura is the most popular Nissan EV in Japan.
Yeah, little key car or K car minivan type. Oh, and by the way, at the Tokyo Auto Show coming up, BYD is going to be offering their version of that car. Another sort of square, boxy, short, minivan.
So we had a article on the investment case for NIO stock as it faces the GIC lawsuit. So one of their investors is the Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund.
Oh,
and
we've lost your audio.
Have we? Can anybody comment if they can hear me, or is it Bill losing me? I don't show any indication that I don't have audio.
Here we go again. I can hear me.
My microphone. It's Bill.
Oh well, it's Bill. It's Bill again.
Yeah. I can see that my mic. I hear you fine.
Oh God.
It's your headset again.
Let's go over here. Yep. Okay.
Anyways, so what basically?
All right. How's that?
I hear you fine.
Am I back? No.
Yeah.
Weird.
Exit and come back. There we go. Well, I was going to tell him to exit the studio in the chat, but he did that. So he'll be back in a minute. But anyways, basically what's happening here is the Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund says NEO has improperly reported some of their income. They're recognizing battery sales earnings from an affiliate up front instead of spreading them across monthly lease payments. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you just need to exit and come back when that happens, apparently.
Yeah.
But see, I can see at the bottom when I'm talking, there's a light that shows how well my microphone is working. And I see yours too, and it tells me, that your microphone's loud and clear.
I don't know what it switched it within the software where we make, we have the settings portion here. It just jumps over back to a default.
Yeah, well,
so, anyway,
technology making our lives easier.
I know.
Yeah, but anyways, what I was getting at here is the Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund is claiming that NEO has been overstating its earnings, and that the earnings should have been spread out over a time period, but NEO reported them early, and so they're being sued, which has driven down the price of the stock. And so this article is saying, hey, this is probably a time to enter NEO. I'm going to tell you it's a bad idea. Okay, NEO is a Chinese company. The government owns part of it, or I believe owns part of it, but it's a stock that the Chinese are able to manipulate the market. Okay, and so much like the NBA, the Chinese are manipulating the market here. I don't know if the Chinese are manipulating the NBA, but they could be.
Well, there's a couple of podcasts that I watched from supposed Chinese experts, and one of them actually is Chinese, and the others, of course, are people that have lived there and so on. And they're having serious economic issues there. Apparently, they got done with their party Congress or whatever that thing was they had over there, and they were expecting that Xi might be ousted, but now it doesn't look like he was ousted. So who knows? But yeah, I would be very leery of investing in any of those particular. I mean, Buffett's done well, but he got in early and made his money off of BYD.
His situation's different though. He invested early before they were public.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's different when you're entering a company pre-IPO.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a completely different situation because nobody's manipulating the market with that. Okay. And this is one of the things I can tell people, this is just pretty good advice if you're investing in anything. Don't bet on the NBA. Okay. Especially don't bet on the WNBA. But
come on, give those women a break.
Yeah. Anyways, but Chinese stocks, even though like NEO's on the New York Stock Exchange, there's manipulation of how the market, and it's just exactly how the Singapore Wealth Fund is suing NEO. I don't, I like some of the things I've seen, like we had Greenland Tech on here and their stuff's made over there,
right.
but they sell in the US. I've been I was really impressed with their CEO. Jeremy Wang was really, in my opinion, was really impressive. But it's still that there's market manipulation. And I even ran my argument on this. I've got an AI stock trading algorithm set up to give advice on when to enter or not enter and look at the volatility and different things that are going on.
Yep.
And it said, just don't. It actually just basically don't. It doesn't even have my bias against Chinese stocks.
Yeah.
It said, don't do this one.
Yeah.
Don't put money in it. And then it was starting to give advice if you did own it, what to do with it. But
now we have to put the proviso in here that this program, EV World, is for entertainment and information purposes only. That is not for advice on stock investing. We are not experts or authorized to offer that kind of advice. Everybody happy now?
Yeah, there you go. But make sure to like, subscribe, and comment to help our
That's right.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it's it's just interesting to kind of see, because I saw this about Neo, and it's like, yeah, I agree with the guy's argument that now the price is deflated,
Right.
and it should go up. It's just that, once again, it's just a market manipulation thing, and you just don't know what you're going to get. It doesn't behave like good. I like some of the things. I like the battery swap technology that Neo's doing.
Yeah.
But just because they're first to the market with some of this stuff, a lot of times it's the second to the market who comes and does the same thing a little bit better,
Right,
that ends up winning. I mean, Tesla certainly wasn't first to market with EVs, right? They just figured out how to come to the market better, and they figured out what the Model S. And I'm not saying, I mean, there was EV selling in Europe, right?
Oh, well, let's see here. That's a long story, and we don't want to go back. I call that the lost decade.
There you go.
But yeah, we had a bunch of cars that were available to lease. Nobody ever sold them, and they were pretty well restricted to California. And it wasn't until Tesla rolled out the Roadster that we began to gain some traction.
But that's in the U.S.
That's in the U.S. now. Well, and Europe, even it was still dicey. There was a handful of cars, and most of those cars were actually rebadged imports from Japan.
Okay.
So things didn't get serious until the Nissan Leaf was the one that made a credible. I mean, who knew of Tesla? Musk was an unknown, but when Nissan, and Carlos Ghosn, threw their weight behind the Leaf, that's what I think really started things moving forward.
All right. Anyways, that's all we got for today, folks. I want to thank everybody for putting up with us today and us going off on tangents.
It's fun. I hopefully enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. I always love doing this. Anyways, we'll be back on Tuesday, and everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.